poquito intense and brooding, and she was, well, a shrew. What kept bringing them back together was a mystery to me, but some things were just better left unsolved. From my vantage point at Riley's desk, I took a closer gander at the two women at the table. They seemed familiar somehow. I searched the recesses of my brain for answers. Were they in a breast enhancement ad? Poster girls for plastic surgery? As much as I wanted to pull the information out of my mind, I couldn't quite manage it. Manny walked to the table, his barely perceptible limp altering his gait just enough to make a girl curious about what had caused it. I was plenty curious, but I had no idea. War wound from his time on the police force was my guess. His gaze caught mine. Dolores? He flicked his cleft chin toward the table, and I threw up my hand in an all-encompassing greeting. Hello. It was my afternoon to man the agency, so the other detectives, Manny, Sadie, and Neil, could be in the field. We rotated, though with my junior detective status, the ink on my California Private Investigator's license barely dry, I usually pulled bonus shifts for more pay. My docket wasn't as full as any of the three senior associates, though after my recent successes in solving several local crimes, I was hoping that would change. I'd worked my behind off. Time to reap the benefits. The exotic gazelle girl whispered into Manny's ear. His arms were crossed over his chest, and his biceps bulged under his black t-shirt. There was something peculiar about the way he was acting. He was almost, pleasantly attentive. Very unlike him. He subscribed to the same school of communication Neil Lashby did. Cut to the chase. Punto. Dolores, he barked. I jumped, busted for staring. Damn, not a good PI move. Yes? He crooked a finger. Ven aquí. Apparently, his pleasant attentiveness didn't extend to me. His words hadn't sounded like a friendly come here. I ran through all the things Manny could have beef with me about. My outfit topped the list. October usually had decent weather, but Sacramento was in the midst of an Indian summer, and the air was heavy with uncommon humidity. I'd caught a glimpse of my reflection in the glass as I'd entered the agency. My salmon-colored blouse clung to me like plastic wrap. In the right situation, say in the privacy of Jack Callahan's bedroom, this could be a good thing. At work, not so much. But I held my chin high and walked over to Manny and the gazelle. Yes? Turn around. Como? My astonishment at the order pinballed through my mind, and I slipped out of my dominant English and into my native Spanish. Por favor, he added as an afterthought. Speaking Spanish and being detectives were probably the only two things Manny and I had in common. He was my mentor and damn good at his job. I worked hard to impress him and still stay true to myself. Not always easy, since I was Dolores Cruz to him and to mi familia, but Lola Cruz to my friends. In my mind, I was a combination, but I didn't think anyone really knew both sides of me. Except maybe Jack Callahan. He'd gotten a few glimpses of both Dolores and Lola, and he seemed to like them both. It's about our new case, he said. Turn around. I heard the faint zip of the surveillance camera, and I knew my Neanderthal coworker wasn't missing a single beat from the lair. His personal high-tech office, just waiting to see what I'd do. A solid but basic roundhouse kick, perhaps? Or maybe I'd go airborne kicking both legs, one at a time, with a double whammy. Not a bad idea. I weighed my options in case it came to that, which it just might. In the end, I did neither. If it was for a case, I could only assume Manny had a reason for wanting to check out my backside. I just wasn't convinced it was a good reason. My black capris were probably just as clingy as my blouse, but I couldn't help that, and I wasn't going to let sticky skin stop me from doing my job. Sucking in a bolstering breath and straightening my spine, I turned around in a slow circle, hands on hips. I turned to Manny and the gazelle again and waited. She was so familiar. But where did I know her from? Her back was as straight as a 2x4. She had one arm across her chest, the other bent at the elbow, her fingers tapping her puckered lips. Good bones, nice shape, could be taller, but I guess she'll do, she finally said, dropping both arms to her sides.